Hello, happy to see you. Today we're going to do some problem solving. And I know in math, sometimes this can be the activity that gets us really stumped or stuck, or our brain just starts to shut down because we don't know where to start. Throughout the year, we have done a number of different problem solving strategies. And always, above all, we want to start by reading the problem carefully, figuring out the pieces of information the problem gives us. What do we know? Followed by, what is the problem asking me to figure out? What is the question? And then we come up with a plan. And so today's lesson is about a type of plan that we can make to problem solve. And it is using objects to model the problem. So basically we're going to be acting out the problem using objects from around the house. So let's get ready to model, sketch, and solve. So here is a story problem, similar to the ones that you're going to see today on your worksheet. And I'm going to use some objects to model this and sort of act it out to help me solve the problem. Okay, Mrs. Dion put 4 gummy bears on top of each cupcake. A. Use a model to show how many gummy bears Mrs. Dion used for decorating 6 cupcakes. Sketch your model. Okay, so again, you're going to find some objects in your house that you can use for your model. My model is going to be representing the gummy bears because I know that there's 4 gummy bears on each cupcake. And I don't have gummy bears in my house, but that's the beauty of a model, is you don't need to use the actual object. It is something that you're using to represent something else. Okay, so I have here some things that I found in the house that I might be able to use. So I just have some pieces of cereal. I have some little chocolate chips, and I have some paper clips. Okay, again, these are just objects that are going to represent something else. And so in my problem, they're going to represent the gummy bears. And I think for this, actually, I'm going to use the paper clips. So my first step is to use the model to show how many gummy bears for 6 cupcakes. Okay, so I'm going to use these paper clips to act it out. Now, I know that there are 6 cupcakes, and so I'm first going to, I think I'll make an array with my model today. So I'm going to make 6 rows to represent the 6 cupcakes. Now you might be saying, oh, but Mrs. Dion, you're making a column, not a row, if you think back to what we learned last week. But I'm actually using this column as the first one in each row. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So if this is the first cupcake, I'm putting 4 gummy bears on each one. So I need to show 4 in my first row. And I already had the 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to do the same for the second row, which is my second cupcake. And I'm going to keep doing that for each of the 6 rows, which are the 6 cupcakes. Now, I happen to show my model today in an array. I could also show it in groups, and I'll show you that at the end. Okay, let's go back to our problem. Use a model to show how many gummy bears Mrs. Dion used for decorating 6 cupcakes. So I have my model, and now I'm going to sketch my model. And I'm just going to grab a pencil. Okay, now I've used paper clips in my model, but when I do my sketch, I'm just going to turn that into circles because that's easier and quicker, and it is just a sketch. Okay, so I did 6 rows, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I put 4 in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Just for a note, I've sketched my model using the 6 rows because that's how I made it with my paper clips. I could have very easily done my model this way, and I could have done 4 gummy bears, right, on 6 cupcakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I could have done my model that way. As we know, arrays can go either way. Okay, but I chose to use rows. I did want to show you that instead of an array, you could have also modeled this problem using groups that are not done in rows and columns. And so here you can see I've just drawn 6 groups to represent the 6 cupcakes, and I can use my objects inside the group to represent the gummy bears. And so here I have 4 gummy bears on each one. Okay, so this would also be a model, and when I did my sketch, I could just sketch out our circles and just put 6 little dots or 6 X's inside of them, as we've done before, to show equal groups. Okay, I would encourage you to maybe, I think you have 2 problems to do today on your worksheet. Maybe try one using groups and try at least one of them using an array in your model. The beauty of an array is you don't need to draw out the groups. You're actually just making the groups as you create the array. So try at least one of your problems using an array. It's great practice. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to using arrays in this way, especially if the problem doesn't have to do with rows and columns, but it is really great practice and a good exercise for our brain. So I'm done sketching my model. Write a multiplication sentence for your model in part A. Okay, so I know that it was 6 cupcakes with 4 gummy bears on each, and that would equal, well, I know that this is 8, and another 8 is 16, and another 8 is 24. Oh, I just realized I could have used my double-double strategy from last week. If I take the 6 and double it, that would be 12. Double that again would be 24. That would be going this way. 6 and 6, 12, and then I have another 12. 12 and 12 is 24. Okay, now I did do 6 groups of 4 instead of 4 groups of 6 because this best represents my word problem here. The cupcakes are my group holders. They're holding the 4 gummy bears. And so there's 6 groups with 4 in each. All right, if I would have done 4 times 6 or 4 groups of 6, that would have meant 4 cupcakes with 6 gummy bears on it, which is not what my problem is. Now, it doesn't ask you to do this on this problem, but we know when we're answering problems, we should always answer the question in a sentence. Okay? And so this way this problem was written, there's not an actual question in it, but I know what it's asking me. It's asking me for how many gummy bears are on 6 cupcakes. So I'm going to say, Mrs. Dion used 24 gummy bears to decorate 6 cupcakes. Okay, might be easier So that is how you use a model to act out and solve a story problem. You are going to go around your house, find something that you can use as your model, and remember, when you do your sketch, you can simply turn it into circles or X's, something that's easy to sketch. Doesn't matter what you used as your model. Okay, so you are going to do your worksheet today using a model, sketching your model, and writing your multiplication sentence to show what you have done. And I will see you next time.